Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video tonight there's quite a few topics to delve into. So, what is next for David De Gea and Paul Pogba? I think David De Gea's transfer from Manchester United is inevitable. Like I've updated you on my recent videos, David De Gea was criticised by Roy Keane yesterday. Um, do you think, Roy Keane was right to criticise David De Gea the way he did, or do you think he was wrong to criticise David De Gea the way he did? Roy Keane, didn't only criticise David De Gea, he also criticised Harry Maguire too, because David De Gea and Harry Maguire were accountable for Steven Bergwijn's goal. Harry Maguire should have defended it, and of course, David De Gea should have saved the shot. But Roy Keane, did say that David De Gea and Harry Maguire should get the taxi back to Manchester. He also said that David De Gea is overrated, and he said he's sick to death of David De Gea, did Roy Keane. So these are some of the stuff, he did say regarding David De Gea. Of course, David De Gea is now into his 9th season at Manchester United. He has been a long servant at the football club. He has been here since 2011, because we got David De Gea in under Alex Ferguson. And I think we paid around £17 million for him from Atletico Madrid. And like I've said on my recent videos, David De Gea has had a good 7 years out of the 9 years or so he's been at Manchester United. But in the last couple of years, he has been a liability, reflecting on the amount of mistakes he has made. But overall, David De Gea is still regarded as one of the best goalkeepers in the world, reflecting on what he's achieved at the football club. He's obviously, won everything here in terms of silverware, and he's won everything, domestically at Manchester United, and he has nearly made 400 appearances for the club in all competitions. I think David De Gea, I said his transfer is inevitable, didn't I? But maybe he won't leave, in the summer transfer window. Maybe he could leave sometime next year. But, when David De Gea does leave Manchester United, I think, he will go back to Spain, because he began his footballing career in Spain. Don't forget, 5 years ago, back in 2015, Real Madrid, came very, very close to getting David De Gea. But due to a fax machine on deadline day, De Gea's move to Real Madrid did not materialise. David De Gea is the highest paid at the football club, and he's the highest paid goalkeeper in the world, because he's on £375,000 a week, because last year he signed a new long-term contract, did David De Gea. But, if we was to sell him, we'd definitely, get a lot more, than what we paid for him. I think maybe we could get maybe around 50, 60, maybe even £70 million for him, if we do sell him in the summer transfer window. But like I said to my video earlier on, Solskjaer's got a big decision to make on, David De Gea and Dean Henderson. Of course, for the remainder of this season, I think David De Gea, will remain our number one goalkeeper, because obviously, Dean Henderson is out on loan with Sheffield United at the moment, and this has been Dean Henderson's second season on loan with Sheffield United. But I've got to make an admission, Dean Henderson's been a revelation for Sheffield United. He's been a revelation for them. He's also been Sheffield United's player of the season. Dean Henderson's also had quite a few loan spells with a few other loan spells with Grimsby, Stockport, and Shrewsbury. I think Dean Henderson has got a contract with us until 2022. We're not going to get rid of him permanently, because we do see him as a long-term replacement for David De Gea. Solskjaer did say not too long ago that Dean Henderson will be England's number one and Manchester United's number one goalkeeper in the future. So I think next season, Dean Henderson could be our number one goalkeeper. I want us to drop David De Gea, I really, really do. We have got Sergio Romero, but obviously, he's not reliable enough, to become our number one goalkeeper. Joe Pereira's out on loan at Hearts. He's going to be staying with Hearts, I think. Lee Grant, he's hardly played since he got recommended in to the football club as well. But I think maybe, revert back to what I said regarding Roy Keane, I think maybe he did go a bit too far, the way he criticised David De Gea and that. Like I said to you on my video this morning, Solskjaer responded, to Roy Keane's criticism against De Gea, and, Solskjaer actually, defended David De Gea and that, and he said he wasn't sure if David De Gea, could have saved that. So there you go. So at the moment, his transfer looks inevitable. It really, really does. Now, let me delve into the news on Paul Pogba. So what I think's next for Paul Pogba is extending his contract at Manchester United. And I do believe, we are going to extend his contracts now. As it stands at the moment, Pogba's got, a year left on his Manchester United contract. But the club do have an option to extend it for a further year. Now, of course, Paul Pogba played in the 1-1 draw against Tottenham yesterday night. Obviously, he didn't start the game. He did come off the bench, so he made his first appearance for the football club in 176 days. And it was the first time he played for Man United since Boxing Day. But yeah, it was good to get a glimpse of, Paul Pogba playing alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. They did play together for like the last half an hour of the game. But I think Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes is definitely the best midfield partnership in the Premier League without a shadow of a doubt. And I did say, didn't I, Bruno Fernandes is key to Paul Pogba's future. He really, really is in that. He's key to Paul Pogba's future. But as it stands at the moment, Pogba's on just under 300 grand a week on his current contract. So he's one of the highest paid players. He's also, our most expensive signing is Pogba because, we did pay £89 million for him. But I've got to make an admission, he made a fantastic impact when he came on yesterday in the game against Tottenham. Obviously, he was the one that won as the penalty. He got fouled by Eric Dyer. And of course, Bruno Fernandes did convert the penalty and all of that. So I think, Paul Pogba is the foreseeable future for Manchester United. His future is obviously, now being resolved. Don't forget, Paul Pogba did have a long-running transfer saga. Obviously, there were stories about him going to Real Madrid. Don't forget, Real Madrid were relentlessly linked with him last summer. They've been in for him since the turn of the year. There's been talks about Pogba, going back to Juventus. Paul Pogba did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus. There were stories coming out the other week, saying that PSG were in for him. Barcelona have also been in for him in the past as well. But Paul Pogba is a world-class player. I know I've criticised him before, but I've criticised Paul Pogba, when he has deserved to be criticised and all of that. So yeah, we know now he's going to be staying at Manchester United. And I think we have been in negotiations over extending Paul Pogba's contract. Of course, we've been very, very critical of his agent, Mini Raiola, since the turn of the year. Reflecting on, some of the comments he has said and all of that. But yeah, definitely Paul Pogba will be at Manchester United for the remainder of this season. I think, he will also be here next season as well. Solskjaer did say prior to the Tottenham game that, he wants to see some leadership from Paul Pogba. Don't forget, Paul Pogba's Rolls-Royce car recently got seized by police for allegedly, having a French number plate and all of that. But some people still think, Paul Pogba, could end up leaving the football club. If he feels as though the team are not progressing and, we do fail to match his ambition because, of course, obviously, Paul Pogba wants to win trophies with Manchester United. Obviously, he has won the Europa League and the League Cup with us so far. He won that, in his first season at the football club. But I think in reality, we made a mistake by getting rid of Paul Pogba when he was younger because we had him when he was younger under Alex Ferguson. But due to limited appearances, we let Paul Pogba go on a 3 transfer and all of that. So, yeah, we let him go on a 3 transfer. But I think, Paul Pogba, will finish, the remainder of the season on a high. And I do believe, Paul Pogba, should start in the game against Sheffield United and all of that. So that is the latest news on that. I also heard from the Daily Express that Manchester United are close to making 2 signings. Now, you saw my match reaction on the game yesterday against Tottenham. Like I said, I thought we actually, dominated the game. I think we had, better of the chances, than Tottenham. Like I said, Rashford had 2 great chances. He should have converted at least one of them, especially the first chance he had. I also thought Bruno Fernandes, he had a really, really good game as well. He did score from the penalty spot, like I mentioned, but actually, Bruno Fernandes, had, I think, 3 other chances, that he obviously, should have scored. You know, like I said, Pogba made an impact when he came on. You know, Luke Shaw, like I said regarding Luke Shaw, he wasn't so bad, was Luke Shaw. He wasn't the worst player on the pitch, but I thought he struggled to carve openings up. You know, he did well going forward and that, but I think some of his decision making wasn't right. You know, on Wan-Bissaka, you know, his decision making was poor as well. You know, he was a bit loose as well in possession, you know, was Wan-Bissaka. You know, yesterday night I thought Lindelof, you know, looked off the pace as well. You know, he got caught out quite a few times when Tottenham were counter-attacking. You know, so yeah, Victor Lindelof, you know, was very, very poor from my own perception. You know, Harry Maguire, you know, wasn't good either. I thought Fred had quite a good game. Fred had quite a good game. You know, he regained the possession a lot. You know, I thought also McTominay, you know, he did well on the ball and he regained possession as well. You know, of course, you know, you saw my player ratings earlier on today on my, previous video that I did do. I think that's just uploaded, by the way. I think yesterday night, Martial, you know, wasn't good either. You know, I don't think we fed Anthony Martial enough, to be quite honest. You know, Martial, I think, had a great chance in the second half. I think, you know, Martial did have 2 opportunities. You know, James, you know, he wasn't, you know, so good either. But yeah, some people said, you know, we didn't really get going in the first half, you know, yesterday night. You know, a lot of people said, you know, we looked much better in the second half. But I did say to you, didn't I, you know, on my preview for the Tottenham game, you know, I knew what Tottenham's game plan were going to be. You know, I said, you know, Tottenham, we're going to play defensive and we're going to look to hit us on the counter-attack. And, you know, that's exactly, you know, what Tottenham did. You know, because Jose Mourinho, you know, he's got a reputation of parking the bus against big teams. You know, he did it quite a lot in his 2.5 years with us. You know, did Jose Mourinho on that. But to be fair to Tottenham, you know, they did look very, very dangerous on the counter-attack. But I think, you know, we'll be the more happy, you know, out of the both teams because, you know, we are still in that top 4 race. Even if we'd have lost the game yesterday to Tottenham, I still think, you know, we'd have been in that top 4 race. As it stands at the moment, you know, we're 2 points, is it, behind Chelsea? 2 points behind Chelsea. You know, we have got 8 games remaining. You know, like I said to you, know, the top 4 is a priority for us. We do want to get that top 4. Because obviously, you know, we do want qualification for the Champions League for next season. Plus, you know, we do want to attract players to the elite level. And, you know, we'll generate money, you know, if we get qualification for the Champions League. But it all depends on Manchester City's 2-year European ban. Because, of course, if they get it upheld, then, you know, 5th place is a Champions League spot. You know, so let's just put that into the equation. And another positive is, you know, that we are unbeaten now in our last 12 games in all competitions. That is our best vein of form since Solskjaer, you know, was the interim manager. So you can see the improvements. And like I've mentioned, you know, I have seen improvements under Solskjaer, you know, with, you know, being very, very good in the transfer market. Definitely, you know, there's players that, you know, have really, really improved as well. Like I said, our record against the Big Six sides this season's been good as well. We've taken like 17 points against the Big Six sides this season. 18 points against the top 6 sides this season. So, you know, there's definitely, you know, been improvements under him. You know, like I said, I think Solskjaer has promoted the youth very, very well. You know, the young players have been given their chances. You know, Greenwood's been flourishing. You know, Brandon Williams has also been flourishing as well. But there again, you know, there's some young players that have found game time very, very difficult. You know, Angel Gomez, he's found game time hard. Appearances have been limited. Chon's found game time hard. Also, too, James Garner, he's found game time. And so too is Delors, but, you know, Delors has had quite a few injuries, you know, this season. He's our backup right back to Wan-Bissaka is Diego Delors and all of that. You know, so I have taken positives, you know, from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure so far. And of course, Solskjaer has got rid of a lot of the dead wood since he got recommended in to Manchester United and all of that. It's bad news, you know, from a Tottenham perspective, you know, because Tottenham are now winless in their last 7 games. I don't think Tottenham are going to finish above us, and I don't think, you know, Tottenham are going to get the top 4. But, you know, the top 4 is a priority for Tottenham. Because, you know, Tottenham cannot win anything in terms of silverware, you know, because they're not in the Champions League. They're also, you know, not in the FA Cup and all of that. But there you go. You know, I think probably Tottenham now are not going to get that top 4. I did say, didn't I, prior to the Tottenham game yesterday, I was very, very convinced Manchester United were going to win. because I was just very, very convinced, we was going to win because obviously, Solskjaer, was looking, to beat Jose Mourinho for the second time as a manager. He's already overcome Jose Mourinho once this season because we beat Tottenham by 2-1 earlier on in the season at Old Trafford. And Solskjaer was looking to beat Tottenham for the third time as a manager because he's already beaten Tottenham, twice so far since he got recommended in as Manchester United manager and all of that. Now, you can say that, in the game yesterday night, Solskjaer tactically got some things correct and he tactically got some things wrong as well, So let's just put that into the equation. That, by the way, it was the first time, we visited Tottenham Hotspur's ground. Well, their new ground. I think Tottenham, paid around £1 billion for it and all of that. It was the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was the 58th new away ground, by the way, that Manchester United visited. But yeah, we are definitely still in that top 4 race. But yeah, so our next game is Sheffield United. The preview, obviously, will be coming up for that game maybe tomorrow or the day after. I think it is on the 24th. I think it's Wednesday, the 24th of June. It is at Old Trafford, yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how Ole Gunnar Solskjaer approaches that game against Sheffield United. He's going to, make changes, isn't he, from the 1-1 draw with Tottenham yesterday night. Definitely, he's going to make changes and that. But it'll be interesting to see how he approaches it. It'll be also interesting to see, what formation, he does go with against Sheffield United because Solskjaer's been changing formation persistently this season. He's been going like with the 4-2-3-1 a lot. A few times he's gone with a 3-4-1-2, a few he's gone with a 4-3-3. I think against the likes of Chelsea and City, he went with a 5-3-2 formation and that. But Sheffield United is a must-win game for Manchester United, and we've got 8 games now remaining. I think we should win at least 6 of our 8 remaining games because, like I mentioned, we've got the easiest running out of all the Premier League teams and that. We're not only focusing on the Premier League though in the top 4, we're also focusing on the FA Cup and the Europa League because they're also two priorities for us as well. The FA Cup and the Europa League, is a chance of us getting some silverware on the board under Solskjaer. It is a big chance for us to get some silverware on the board under Solskjaer. And like I mentioned, if we could win the FA Cup and the Europa League, it would be a fantastic achievement for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Manchester United. It'd be even more of a fantastic achievement if we won both of them. Plus, we got the top 4 as well. But we should beat Norwich in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, so we should actually, progress to the semi-finals because Norwich are sitting bottom of the Premier League and that. So, there you go. But Sheffield United, is going to be a tough game. It really, really is because Sheffield United have enjoyed an exceptional season. No one expected Sheffield United to be in the position that they're in now. Where are they sitting in the league? Is it like 6th, 7th or something like that? I've got to admire Chris Wilder. I think he's done a very, very good job at Sheffield United. He's progressed Sheffield United from League 1 to, 6th or 7th in the Premier League and all of that. Sheffield United, have also got good players as well. So we need to be on our game against Sheffield United at Old Trafford. I've seen some of today's games, by the way. A shock today came along. Brighton beating Arsenal by 2-1. Wasn't the Watford and Leicester game a 1-1 draw, if I'm right. But yeah, so there you go. Yeah. So I've got an idea. I think I know our strongest team now. I know Manchester United's best 11. And I think for the game against Sheffield United, Solskjaer has probably now got to drop Lindelof and put Bailly ahead of him and put Lindelof as the backup. United fans have got different verdicts on it. Some would keep Lindelof alongside Maguire and some would put Bailly alongside Maguire. We will keep Luke Shaw at left back for the remainder of this season because obviously, Luke Shaw, he's more experienced than Brandon Williams, but maybe next season, Brandon Williams, will be our first choice left back. like I mentioned earlier on, Solskjaer's got a decision to make at left back because we're facing a bit of a dilemma at left back. I did say earlier on as well, didn't I? He's got to address the midfield. What's his first choice midfield trio? I think he knows. I think our first choice midfield trio is Bruno Fernandes, Pogba, and Scott McTominay. Some United fans will say Bruno Fernandes, Pogba and Fred, and some United fans will say Bruno Fernandes, Pogba and Matic. But mine's Bruno Fernandes, Pogba and Scott McTominay. I think that's the midfield we probably are going to go with against Sheffield United because I think, Pogba is going to start against Sheffield United. I really, really do. I think he's going to start against Sheffield United. Greenwood, he could also start against Sheffield United as well. Daniel James maybe drops to Sheffield United and, may play Greenwood ahead of Daniel James. Like I said regarding Freddie, he started the game yesterday night. He probably won't start against Sheffield United. He won't start against Sheffield United. Anthony Martial, he'll probably start against Sheffield United. Of course, Rashford, he should start against Sheffield United as well. But I think, he will definitely, make some changes, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. But I've got an idea, of what 11 he's going to go with for the game on Wednesday against the Blades. I really, really do in that. But these decisions Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got to make. We've also got to make a decision on Angel Gomez's future because Angel Gomez is stalling on a new contract at Manchester United. Solskjaer did reveal in his press conference prior to the Tottenham game that Angel Gomez is close to signing a new contract at Man United. The Athletic said earlier on this week that Angel Gomez is close to signing new contracts, but no agreement has yet been reached. I think the recent contract we've offered Angel Gomez is around £30,000 a week, but we've put forward a few contract offers for Angel Gomez, but, he has turned these down. So, there you go on that. But, Solskjaer has come out as well, and he's actually said that Manchester United are close, to winning trophies, and he also believes that we're close to becoming title contenders. Now, for us to be title contenders next season, we have got to get the right players in the summer transfer window, and Solskjaer has said, he wants to make around three major signings or four major signings at the end of the season, and that. This is, what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has said, and of course he's identified the areas in the squad where he does want to strengthen up, but big decisions have got to be made in the summer transfer window, what players he's going to offload, because he's still deadwood at the football club that he needs to get rid of. Also, too, what players he's going to bring in, that's a decision he's got to make as well. Obviously, there were stories coming out the other week saying that our transfer budget had been revealed. It says, we're going to get around £270 million to spend in the summer transfer window, but that should be enough for us, to get, the number of players that we do want in, and, we're going to sell players in the summer transfer window, so we are going to generate, money in that aspect. Of course, it did confirm the other week that our net debt is now just over 429 million, and our debt had risen up by almost £130 million. But the summer transfer window will be Solskjaer's fourth transfer window as Manchester United manager, because so far Solskjaer's enjoyed 3 transfer windows at the football club and spent just over £200 million. I've got to credit him, for the players that he has brought into the football club so far. I think, what saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job at Man United, was with the wins against the likes of City and Tottenham earlier on in the season, and of course the signing of Bruno Fernandes. That's also saved Solskjaer's job at Manchester United as well. But, Solskjaer knows he's got the backing of Ed Woodward. He's also got the backing of the Glazers. Like I said, Solskjaer was so close to getting sacked earlier on in the season. At that point, there was talks of Massimiliano Allegri coming in. There was talks of Mauricio Pochettino coming in and all of that. Maybe, with Solskjaer being a club legend, we have actually, softened our stance on him, because maybe if it had been any other manager, then maybe he would have been gone by now. But earlier on in the season, we enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. We really, really did and all of that. But Solskjaer's been at the football club now for, I think he's been here just over a year and a half and that. I think he's been permanent Manchester United manager for around, is it 15 or 16 months? But we need to give him another season at the club, to see, who else he can recommend in, because it is a transition period in that. And if things don't work out next season, that's, when I would get rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and all of that. Because at the end of the day, he is our fourth permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. We've sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era, and that was David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, and Jose Mourinho and all of that. But in the last 7 years anyway, Manchester United have been playing catch-up. In the last 7 years, we've spent close to the £1 billion range on players. We've had different managers with different philosophies in that. We've made a lot of mistakes as well in the last 7 years or so, and that's one of the main explanations why we have been so inconsistent in that. There's been cultural problems at the club. We've been critical of Ed Woodward and the Glazers as well for several years, so let's just put that into the equation. But we want to challenge for a league next season, because we haven't won the Premier League since 2013, and this has been a 7 successive season now. We have failed to mount any kind of title challenge up. I'll make an admission regarding Solskjaer. I've got reservations about him. He's inexperienced as a manager, and some of the decisions he makes, I don't agree with in that. So that's another one of my element of concerns I've got about him. But on the other hand, Solskjaer, can also make some good decisions. But, when Solskjaer got appointed in as Manchester United manager, he did say that everybody will get their chances to express themselves. Which, to be fair, he has more or less, given everybody their chances. So let's just put that into the equation. But even if we don't get qualification for the Champions League, I still think Solskjaer will be here, next season. But he knows next season, Solskjaer, he'll have bigger expectations to exceed at the football club. He really, really will in that. So there you go. But Manchester United have not dominated English football since the Alex Ferguson era. Like I said, Ferguson endured 26 years at Manchester United, won a total of 38 major honours, and developed a lot of young players. But there again, Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years, so he didn't settle in straight away. Solskjaer won't replicate Ferguson's legacy. He won't obviously last as long as Ferguson did. No manager, though, will replicate Ferguson's legacy at the football club. So that's just, something that, we have got to accept in that. Ferguson only made one mistake, and that mistake was obviously, ever recommending David Moyes into the job. The main explanation at the time he recommended David Moyes in is because there was both Scottish, and Alex Ferguson was somehow just seen to have a lot of time for David Moyes in that. But in reality, with the money we've spent, we should be in Liverpool's position. And not only that, we've also got players on big contracts at the football club as well. So there you go in that. And so there's nothing much more really to say. On my recent video, I give you the news on Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund. I think he's been benched, by the way, because according to Borussia Dortmund, Lucien Favre, the manager there, have said that he's head at Manchester United. Fabrizio Romano's obviously, been talking about Sancho recently, and, he says that he'll accept an offer from Man United, but as it stands at the moment, we've not put an official bid in for Jadon Sancho. He said the contract's not a problem. It's the asking price what is the stumbling block, because Dortmund have said, they do want £115 million. Jadon Sancho's our number one priority target. Jack Grealish, he's another one of our priority targets as well. There's still stories coming out regarding Jude Bellingham from Birmingham. But, we've looked at a few alternatives to Jadon Sancho. Leon Bailey's been one. Rabbi Matondo came out quite a few weeks ago. Ansumain Fati Vieira. Reportedly now he's no interest in coming to Man United or joining any other club. So he wants to stay with Barcelona and that. So we are looking at a few alternatives to Jadon Sancho. But we've got to make signings in the summer transfer window, because Chelsea, they've done really, really good business so far. They've got Ziyech in February for Ajax for 38 mil, was it, or 37? They recently got Werner for around £48 million. Definitely a cheap solution. You know, they're trying to now get Kai Havertz. They're also trying to get Ben Chilwell and that. So Chelsea, you know, could be up there next season. You know, they really, really could in that. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. And take care. God bless. And I'll see you all again very, very soon.